We're about to jump into our first game of UKLC action today. We've got MNM versus NVision, and Jamada, you'd think this one would be pretty one-sided, but we all watched the game last week.
Yes, MNM dropping their game to Lucent, and generally speaking, NVision in recency looking a little better. The last 4 games, I think, maybe you removed the Resolve Academy game, but, the last 3, I suppose, then looking okay. So, room for upset, yes. MNM, it's more about how they bounce back, it feels like, because we've seen them drop, games to teams that were much lower than them in the standings already this split. And after they do drop those games, they bounce back pretty hard. So let's see exactly whether we're going to see that bounce back or whether we're going to get, sort of back-to-back lower-end teams taking down a top-end team in MNM.
Well, we are into picks and bans, as you can see on your screens. We've got Karma, Lulu, and Zinzao all being taken off the table. Now, I was talking a little bit to a couple of people about this patch and what we're playing on right now. We're talking to M4 on the London Post show after the UKLC, and there's not really any new hotness that is going to be banned away. So are we expected to see pretty standard stuff?
Yeah, pretty standard stuff. I think realistically, if you're talking about from sort of point 12 to point 13, minor changes have come through. Some things have just shifted in priority, and that's about it. Other than that, a lot of the picks are still relatively the same. It just depends on how teams feel about their actual strength. One pick in particular, Nocturne, pretty much pick banned still. The stride breaker changes really just make him obnoxious. So until we see that nerf come through on the next patch, which won't be until the final week of the UKLC, I believe. Even then, next week we might still be on this patch. We're not going to see a difference there. And Nocturne, Renekton also removed away from Aragon, and I think rightfully so, because whenever MNM seems to get a Renekton, they play towards it so damn well. And because of that ban, it means Gwen is up and available, and it is going to go over to MNM.
Yeah, it's going to be taken a little bit flexible, could go into either of those solo lanes or the jungle. We've seen it having some play there as well, so not revealing too much, just revealing that you want a really strong pickup. Dana, set is something that we talk about an awful lot around these
DBL's a set player too.
Yeah, so it could definitely be the rotation. Nadana has already been locked in. Can work without the set, obviously. Very, very strong AP jungler, and something that we do often see pinched if it's not picked up in the first rotation.
Yeah, very frequently. So let's see exactly how MNM want to respond to this, because the set is up if they want to deny it, but honestly, it would feel pretty MNM to sort of leave it there. And with the Thresh taken off the board, it's sort of, as you can see, hovering the Felios kind of as a lock it in, potentially signed to NVision, but they take it themselves. Okay, very interesting. So takeaway there, but honestly, this leaves room for NVision to go something like Ziggs into it if they really want to. And then they can remove away some of the bad support matchups for this Thresh, things like the Nautilus, for example, or even, a Leona to sort of strip away some of the engage options from MNM. So let's see. And I mean, they can also go down the more defensive route if they want to ban away something like Tahm Kench. Also, very much an option. Although we're on the different Tahm, aren't we, on this patch?
Yeah, we're on disabled.
It's so even disabled still.
Yeah, I saw my first games of Tahm on UKL, and goodness me, is he a champion in that top lane right now? But yes, it will be the Ziggs, and we're going to see the Braum taken away, which does make sense. I would expect to see another more defensive support.
Another support man, definitely. To what end, I'm not entirely sure what options NVision would be looking at clocks to lock in. But we'll have to wait and see. But for MNM, yeah, I think now, AD options that 2 Cups likes. You could also see a Lucian ban come out here at the same time. I think that would make a whole bunch of sense. And you don't really have to worry about too much else off the top of my head. There's not really a whole bunch of super scary AD mid champions that consistently get picked up. Though when it comes to 2 Cups, he is also a bit of an Irelia player. So we'll have to make sure, or MNM will certainly have to sort of consider that potential option. But we're moving away DBL's Trundle. A little bit of respect there, but let's see how NVision want to round out this R4, because again, set still an option for them. And I mean, when you've got the Ziggs there too, you've got a lot of flexibility between all 3 lanes still. Ziggs can go mid, set can go top, and you can still lock in an AD carry if you want. So at least to me, set would be the most valuable option. Let's see what NVision think.
Yeah, it's going to be the Yone being locked in. We were talking about AD mid laners, and he's certainly one of those. The Evelyn being hovered, we saw it played very successfully by Yanotis, so probably more of a respect hover than a actual pick, but we'll have to wait and see. But a lot of people have been saying that Trundle might actually be an option into Gwen, which is also why that one might have been banned away. But Hitbrain's going to be sad he's missing today. But LeBlanc will be going into the hands of Vango.
Yeah, LeBlanc on Vango. We've seen him play it a couple of times. And historically, he's had very, very strong performances on the champion. Let's see what now the support option will be, because we've got Lee Sin in the top lane, Gwen in the jungle, LeBlanc in the mid lane, and now it's going to be rounded out with Leona, as expected. Definitely looking at engage options. When you have the Baron moved away, the Nautilus has gone too, you probably just look to more aggressive picks, and it's very much an MNM style. The composition in general, very MNM, very aggressive. I do have some concerns around, the Gwen pick in terms of some early game pressure. It's not necessarily the best at dealing with pressure, but it certainly can whip out the damage. And I mean, something that can deal the damage as well, Jax, when it comes to some of those later game skirmishes and just split pushing on side, so potent. And I mean, into a pick like Gwen, or potentially Lee Sin. I think they're going to potentially put Lee in the jungle for this one. Yeah, that makes more sense because they've got the LeBlanc. All right, I apologize, a bit of a misread there for me. So Gadonico on his Lee Sin, his very infamous Lee Sin. Gwen up in the top side. Into this Jax, definitely a very interesting matchup. I'm not entirely sure how it goes because both of these champions scale through the roof. I would imagine in the early game, Gwen has, windows to play around. However, she is relatively auto-attack bound. So Jax having the Counter-Strike, he's also got a lot of play there. So I think it's going to be a pretty heavy skill matchup up in the top side. Really volatile. So I wouldn't be surprised to see MNM send numbers up there. And I also wouldn't be surprised to see them want to send numbers down into Joppa because, well, he's the best individual AD carry in the league right now. So chucking resources into him is never going to be a bad idea.
Something that is just leaping out to me, Javon. I want you to correct me if I'm wrong here, but MNM have drafted a lot of champions that really love getting in the mix, and not that much that's there to protect Joppa, though. So if he gets jumped onto as the Aphelios, we often see him with stuff like the Fresh to keep him safe. There's not really that many safety valves on this MNM draft that can keep him away from danger. When you've got stuff like the Jax, like the Dana, like the Yone, I don't see him surviving that many team fights unless MNM can delete people before they start. Yeah,
it's certainly an interesting lock in there, especially when they don't go for something aggressive like Nautilus in the same rotation to at least try to have sort of an outright winning bot lane. And especially into NVision, a team which we know plays Ziggs, and we've seen it in the LEC this week as well. It's been a pretty consistent answer into the Aphelios. Certainly strikes me as a bit strange, but as you say, definitely worried for the Aphelios a little bit later on into the game when some of those other champions on the opposite side for NVision come online. But honestly, I also think NVision in general should be pretty comfortable with their draft. They've got a lot of solid scaling. I think maybe room to make some plays once we hit that one item spike. Before then, a little bit of, a lot of passive gameplay, I would imagine. They don't really have a lot of tools for setup until those level 6 come online, Fate Sealed, Moonfall, and that's about it. That's like all the CC they've got. So NVision, generally speaking, their engage isn't going to be that great. But if they are able to find the angles for it and they do find MNM clumped up, people are going to get deleted off the Rift immediately.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's also, they've got a decent number of pick tools if they want to go for engage as well, because of course they got the Fresh. So the Death Sentence, if they can find onto one following up with the Yone and Diana, that's a very dead Lee Sin, for example, if they can catch Gadonico out. But we found our way onto the Rift for the first game of the day. MNM Gaming on the blue side, taking on NVision on the red. Jamal, we both predicted an MNM going into this one. Now that we've seen the drafts, can I sway you? Can I change your mind? Or are you still predicting the Marshmallows to take this one?
I mean, I always feel like, at least this iteration of MNM, their biggest enemy is themselves. Their own discipline always seems to be what's in question for me. Whether they realize when to pull back on aggressive plays or whatever, they, play it very concisely. And when we see that very sort of, not even by the books, but just calculated aggression MNM, they seem like the best team in the league by large margins. But as soon as we see those slip-ups and the cracks start to open up, that's when teams, anyone in the league can take advantage of it. And we've seen it happen a couple of times now. So I think Master Drafts, very explosive. I don't think there's a clear edge to either side. I think both drafts have their own strengths and weaknesses. it's going to be more on execution. So, you know, because MNM are on blue, I'll start there. I think for them, it's going to be about this mid-jungle, right? What can you get done with this LeBlanc Lee Sin early on in the game? And then eventually, how can you use these two champions as a bridge to allow Gwen and Aphelios both to scale so that they can do their job? And then on the NVision side, how are you going to survive this pressure from the mid-jungle of Lee Sin and LeBlanc at the same time when you have such a sort of passive, not so early aggressive jungle mid-duo like Yone and Diana? And once you do have those almost online, who are you going to attack? How are you going to find the angles? Those are my big questions for this game. So I don't think the draft has swayed me in any particular way. I think both relatively well matched.
Yeah, for sure. There's not been any, like, no one big lost draft, which is always nice to see, because it's always a bit upsetting when you see someone like, right, you've picked some interesting stuff here. Looks like I'm going to watch 20 minutes of you losing lane. But this time around, we've got some interesting pickups, though. We've got this Jax, who isn't a champion that we get to see too much of around and about in the year of our Lord 2021. And DBL, definitely a player who can play these slightly less meta champions with great success. And as you said, the split pushing potential and the team fight potential of this champ is pretty good when we get to like the 2-3 item mark.
Yeah, definitely so. You've got a lot of builds available to the Jax as well. I think the most common one is stuff still like the old of Blade the Ruined King. Ooh. Interesting dive forward. And curiously, DPL has actually gone phase rush. I'll talk about that more in a second. But yeah, Triforce, Blade the Ruined King, or Triforce Sterax, things like that. It depends on how much side lane pressure he's looking to achieve. But Old Stones has... Oh, okay. Pathed up to the mid lane. Oh, yeah. I got them mixed up. Ignore me. Slow day for me so far. Yeah, Old Stones actually roamed up to the top side just to make sure that they could secure the Skull Crab. And with Gdanika still on his jungler on the top side, he's going to get double skulled by Diana. Nice movement from Old Stone just to make sure that it's secure. Come off the back of a Cheery Call on the bottom side. Tango cutely tries to freeze, but I imagine it will be broken by Juanatis and Old Stones here.
Absolutely no interest in letting this 1v1 mid actually occur as a 1v1 with NVision hanging around. Old Stones hasn't been bought for a while, and Fuyu, quite happy just to sit back from the wave, is losing out on a little bit of farm, about a wave behind at this point. But with the Leona there, you do have to be careful at 6, because you get the hard engage on, you get Yoppa rolling, and we've seen what this guy can do when he gets a lead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not the most snowbally champion in the world, especially when the composition isn't built around the Aphelios. So,
true.
Something to keep our eyes on, even if, you know, Job does get going. It's not something kind of, you know, as bluntly aggressive as maybe something like a Samira pairing with Leona would have been. It is still a true hyper-scaling AD carry with no peeling tools really available to him outside of one Lee Sin kick at best. Not that Leona can't be played in a peeling fashion, but you understand the...
I get you. I know where you're coming from.
You understand.
Leona can stand back, use that stun, use the Zenith Blade short range to keep people away from Aphelios, but that's not really what you want Leona to be doing, especially when you've got champions that really love the idea of diving in onto CC targets, which is exactly what Leona will be laying up on a plate. Speaking of, MNM looking to try and get onto Fuyu. Nice stun coming through. The Lantern is popped, but it's not going to be used. The first blood goes over to MNM. It's Clocks who will secure that one.
Yep, the Eclipse steals it away from his AD carry, but that's still fine. Happy with that pick if you're MNM, and that's going to transfer immediately into this Infernal Dragon. So the first Dragon will go over to the blue side team here, and on NVision side, immediate response from Juanatis. He's taking away jungle camps in the top side. Didn't quite get eyes on whether or not he stole away the Gromp as well, but definitely got the Wolves, as looks like maybe he has a timer that we don't, just sticking around. There you go, 10 seconds away from spawning, so he might stick around, and he will get that as well. And he is going to be a full level up, give or take, on Gdanika once he takes that Gromp. So big XP difference starting to be accrued by Juanatis, so he's going to have the move pool available to him way sooner than Gdanika will have the Dragon's Rage. Could certainly sway some early skirmishes in his favor.
6. Yeah. It's already been secured, and you can see Yone making moves into the enemy jungle. No, there's those camps there, but just getting a ward down.
Yeah, so Aragon has no vision up here right now, and because 2 cards you can see he's using Fog of War to his advantage, sitting in the top side of mid. Oh.
Lox is here though, and DBL's really overextended. Doesn't have the start available. It's going to be snip, snip, snip all the way down. Aragon cuts him down to size.
Yeah, that's honestly kind of unfortunate for DBL as Vango.
Flash forced, but it's okay. No one's gone down. It's cool. It's chill.
Yeah, so honestly, good movement from NVision on the map. Obviously, we had Bonatis up on the top side, taking away jungle camps, but 2Cups also used Fog of War with his priority to force Aragon to try and back up off the wave, which gave DBL the confidence to step up. But the only thing is, NVision didn't really have deep vision, or any vision, in the MNM jungle as Moonfall comes down.
Really nice Moonfall. Has already caught one. Teleport's coming through, so this could be a full-fledged team fight, depending on if DBL can get a stun down. Won't be able to. Dodges away from anyone else, but that's the damage that we were talking about. NVision pick up their first kill of the game.
Their first kill sort of happened on the drop of a hat there. As multiple members were congregating around the mid lane. It feels like they have been for a very long time anyway. As Herald's going to be spawning soon, so I want to see exactly who wants to put their resources where. Seen already clocks roam up to the top side. Priority seems to have been firmly in MNM's control in the bottom side for the most part, as far as I've looked down here. More to do with Old Stone's roaming more than anything else. Typically, you would see Ziggs lanes have priority, but just using it more as a defensive tool. Does kind of work for Joppa. He'd probably be happy to sort of handshake all of the CS anyway. But NVision been using the pressure well, that's for sure.
Cups able just to clear out this wave mid. Not too worried. Won't be losing any plates or anything like that. But yeah, if I was Vango this game, this is the kind of thing you type in all chat, send more. You know, Old Stones has really set up a tent in this mid side and has been seeing success, especially when you look at Fu. Yes, he died once, but he's temp farmer right now on the reset. Managed to get the shove in, so hasn't been punished too much for allowing his support a little bit more free range. And moving around with Yonotis, when he has that ultimate available, they can be such a deadly duo. Trio if you include 2Cups on the Yone, because let's be real, they're going to be mid. And look, they're already setting up for potentially more plays down there now. Yeah,
a lot of pressure going towards Vango. And Vango definitely somebody you can have a little bit of criticism for on this MNM roster. Definitely feels like at the moment the most inconsistent one here. I think it's definitely a high bar though.
I was about to say, like, being the worst player on MNM, like,
yeah, it's not exactly a bad thing. However, there certainly have been moments to highlight. But NVision, it seems like, picking up on that, trying to just, you know, do their best to abuse the mid lane. However, a champion like LeBlanc, very hard to lock down. So they've only really found success once. Fu will take his first plate at the bottom side. Gdanika off screen did take the Rift Herald, by the way, so that is in MNM's pocket. Have to see exactly where he will want to drop that. Pretty strong options across the board, honestly. You know, Orcs typically speaks a lot about on the NLC, dropping, you know, the first Herald mid and then securing the second one to crack open the mid lane tier 1 on the second. However, I think there's a lot of value, honestly, in these side lane towers. Now that tier 2s are so valuable, even dropping heralds on side lanes aren't a terrible idea if you know you're likely to pick up the second herald as well. Just because of how much gold is locked in that tier 2. Is, of course, a little more risky. But, Old Stones and Clocks almost butting heads. Bonatis was behind him too.
Clocks clears up the ward though, and they're all hanging around for this dragon for more than 25 seconds, but a fight might be kicking off. Yonotis takes the lantern, so he'll be okay. No nonsense from this NVision lineup so far. They're going to help try and get some priority mid. And it's a really interesting point about this Herald going into side lanes potentially, and of course actually a lot of damage coming into Vango. The ultimate will go wide once again from 2Cups, so he can jump back into the mid lane, not going to be taking too many tower shots, but now moves towards the dragon. But it could also be used to try and dissuade any kind of contest from these kind of objectives, and NVision don't look like they need to use it for that, or MNM don't seem like they want to use it for that reason now, but they might lose out on this dragon if they don't start rotating.
Yeah, I think they will lose out on this dragon. They don't have topside priority. Vango just had to base. Looks like they want to try and retaliate bot, but the issue is NVision can just rotate so freely. What if it still drops the Herald?
Oh, and he's going to be hooked up by the death sentence. A decent amount of damage coming through. Not actually as much as you'd expect, dodging out for the majority of the damage from the Ziggs. Gets the charge and the money onto Gdanika only, but I'm not a huge fan of that placement.
Yeah, that's the thing. So MNM because they lose out on Vanguard, they don't have top side priority. They use it as sort of an instant retaliation as a means to at least inject some gold straight back into them. But realistically, you want to try and drop that Herald for Joppa now. Oh, this is potentially dangerous for 2 Cups. Okay.
He already kicks back under tower, gets the Resonant Strike as well, but not going to be followed on through. And Clock's actually trying to get onto Ziggs. Will be able to hit the Zenith Blade after the ultimate comes down. There's so much CC and damage. Clocks steals another kill away from Joppa. Look at me, I am the carry now. Death Sentence will land onto Aphelios, and he's bringing help, he's bringing friends as you notice. Hits the damage, and more members diving on through. Ganonica, it's a 2v2. The tower is there, though. The exhausted Lee Sin will be able to scamper away. It will be a 1-for-1 trade at the end of that play, but this is the damage that NVision can bring to bear right now.
Yeah, definitely so. Still a little bit positive upswing for MNM if you're talking about the gold, but the response was still very, very swift from NVision, and it's another kill over to Juanatis. Starting to get the ball rolling a little bit now. 90 CS, 2-0 scoreline. Should have his first item on this base. So he's going to be very, very strong. Strangely, just lost his bounty. I don't know why. But have to keep our eyes out on him in these team fights, because again, you know, it is going to mostly be 2 Cups and Juanatis in these team fights. Big AoE ultimate to try and blow up multiple members, squishy members as well of MNM. There's not really a true frontliner outside of this Leona. And even then, she's only a support, so she's only going to be so tanky.
They'll have those chains and not much else you've got to imagine. A decent trade for Vango in the mid side. 2 Cups has had a pretty quiet game. And speaking of quiet, in the top side, you know?
Yeah.
We talked about this one being a very aggro, potentially people would want to put resources up there, and so far there hasn't been that much interaction. DBL's built a little bit of a farm lead, has grabbed a couple of plates. They'll be falling off in 30 seconds, so it's unlikely that Eragon's Gwen is going to get any return, but hasn't been particularly volatile up there right now.
Yeah. They both these champions, both very sort of heavy on the scaling, so both it seemed happy to take the handshake. And I wonder who this will benefit, because at the end of the day, Jax is one of the hardest champions in the game to outscale on a side lane. There's only a, you know, maybe you can throw Fiora in that argument, but even that's a bit of a skill matchup. But Gwen just scales so ridiculously well on the side lane. And I'll use a Vedius quote verbatim. He said he thinks that Gwen right now is the strongest side lane scaling champion at the moment. And honestly, I'm pretty inclined to agree, because I've seen some of the bonkers stuff Gwen can do. All of that true damage.
Never watched Kerberos play Nasus.
True. I mean, technically, you can't outscale Infinity, so...
Can't outscale the Fresh. The Fresh is actually the hardest scaling champion in this game.
Or statistically?
Well, no, because he's got the infinite scaling on his... Well, in this game specifically.
Ah,
There's stuff like the Vigar that infinitely scales, and I guess what, like Kindred does as well, and Senna.
Yeah.
But they're not in this game, Javada, so we don't need to worry about them.
I guess technically Cho'Gath does too.
True, but also notably not in this game.
Very true. NVision taking large. They might get this off the stat. Yeah, that's all. That's gone.
Very easy to say the siege down.
Massive chunk into that execute. It's power Zig.
Back to the top then. Ganonica going to try and make a play. Gets the kick down. Decent amount of damage. DBL going to dive on top of him, but it's not enough. Eragon should be able to move away from the tower and not going to be taking too many more tower shots, and could look to get the return on this objective. They lost the tower bot, but they're getting killed top.
Yep. Immediate cross map from MNM. Still, you know, technically a tad risky if you want to think about it. NVision could have had numbers up here. They only really showed 2, and the vision is not necessarily the best on either side, but fortunately for them, the numbers for NVision were on the bottom side, so cross map 6. Very nice retaliation play there, and the gold is effectively traded out across the map, so you know, can walk away happy with that one. As gold on our screens, there's not really a major gold difference anywhere. It's, you know, a couple hundred gold here and there on either side, as kind of reflected by the gold difference at the top of our screens. It's actually the support role with the biggest differences. All stones might get caught out.
Yeah, taking a decent amount of damage, has to flash away. MNM not going to be able to follow through. Probably don't want to follow up too heavily. Dragon on the Rift, it's the 3rd one, but both teams have got one, so it's not the biggest objective to worry about. Of course, 2nd Rift Herald is kind of in the same boat where it's not as stressful, but as you say, with those side lane towers being worth a lot more and both teams having unlocked one of the outer towers, maybe there's a little bit more onus on it, but a decent amount of damage coming through from Vango, who's going to burn low. Yone coming on through, will get the damage down, gets the kill onto the LeBlanc, and will pop right on out of there. It's a pick and a dragon going over to NVision.
Yeah, the immediate Moonfall actually interrupts the distortion from Vango, means he can't dash away, even with the flash over the wall. Fate Seal plus the Ziggs ultimate is enough to eventually secure the MNM mid lane, and with that, third dragon goes over to NVision. Not really much of a team fight happened over it. And his Ocean Soul, haven't really touched on it much. Can be an impactful soul. As time's gone on, teams and players and the general sort of outlook on this Dragon Soul is that it's probably the weakest out of all four, even below Cloud Soul. Which, honestly, I can understand that. It's a very situational soul, it seems now. It's either really good against poke, but even then, you know, the poke damage in this game is so bursty. Oh. Vango almost walked to his death. So,
okay, you know, just once those Krugs will secure the neutral objective, and Vango playing with fire just a little bit on the side. But, I mean, Ocean Dragon, the one thing that always stuck with me, a couple of years ago, I was talking to, can't remember who it was, about Ocean Dragon. We were talking about how it's really nice into poke compositions and stuff, and they were saying, look, it's really, really great when you've got long extended dances around objectives, because it just keeps you healthy. It allows you to try and start them up and then peel off, take that little bit of poke from Baron, and then sustain through. And both of these teams, as you say, it's more about bursting through. It's more about getting that one shot, getting that massive amount of damage from your LeBlanc, your Lee Sin, your Gwen, your Diana, your Yone. So, but it's the same for both teams at the end of the day. And both teams could want to look to set up some of these sieges, set up some of these neutral objective plays, and try and make credit happen with them. That said, we're on third dragon. There's plenty of time for both of these teams to pick up Soul if they really want to. From a coaching perspective, from a person who plays higher than Gold 3 MMR, is there a world where you see a dragon like this, you're like, Ocean's not that hot, and then you kind of put it out of your mind a little bit as a team?
At the end of the day, no, because, you know, you still want to deny away the objective from the enemy team, right? And it also eventually does lead into an Elder, which, of course, you're effectively fighting over the strength of the Elder buff as Vango in, but
putting in loads of damage onto Old Stones. The damage coming on through, and it will actually be NVision picking up the first kill of the fight. Lee Sin jumping around, but not going to be doing that much too much longer. Who you trying to put the damage down with the bombs. Aragon goes down, Clocks runs away, Godolika runs away, Vango looking to escape. They've used the engage to disengage this time around as Two Cups dives on forward, trying to get onto the block once again. Will be able to get a second kill for himself. Not going to looking to dive onto Clocks, but NVision turn the fight around and pick themselves up a win, and maybe even a tower with the Ziggs.
Yeah, they should be able to get this tower. They could even push for two if they really want to. Not a whole bunch of wave clear, but looks like they will back away. They'll take their team fight win plus that mid-tier 1, and now the map a little wide open. Can make things a little bit easier, especially when you consider it's going to be the Ziggs in the mid lane for all the wave clear. MNM kind of a bit lacking there in the mid lane. Here we'll have a replay of that fight as Vango goes in, but it's just the top side of the fight, really. The Moonfall dropper forced the flash away. The kick is great, but it's just that face heal lands onto all three members. Removes drop away. Two Cups, honestly, I feel like could have stayed in that spirit form a little bit longer, maybe found another kill. Aragon finds himself mispositioned, and despite the dash away from LeBlanc, not able to gather enough distance to escape the edgy man with two swords. Two Cups finds himself another kill, doing much better than recent performances. There was a little bit of criticism chucked out to Two Cups about not necessarily delivering on sort of expectations around his history. But certainly the last few weeks, his performance has been absolutely stellar, in my opinion. Today, another one of those performances on this Yone. Highlighted in the draft as well. He is pretty fond of some of these melee champions. I think I brought up Irelia, but Yone, same kind of category. And NVision, they find themselves about 2,000 gold up on MNM at this 20-minute mark. And it's a pretty good place to be when you think about some of the scaling aspects of the composition. Of course, you can certainly say MNM's comp doesn't necessarily scale as well, but scaling isn't always everything in League of Legends, at least in this meta where it's so burst heavy. All it takes is, one member just being removed off the map, and the entire scope of the game kind of changes.
Well,
It still can't be understated.
Oh, Godolika might be that member removed off the map. Has been dove onto, but ultimate burnt by Fuyu, not going to land it onto. Lee Singer's going to look for the engage himself. Vango getting the damage down, but you know this is a statue. Will get stunned up by Leona, but one whip from Old Stones will be enough. They're going to be able to return the kill. There is Yoppa, secures the Diana, and MNM forced to move upriver. Vango flashing away from 2 Cups. He's going to flash back to the rest of his team and should look towards the Dragon. It's an even trade once again. MNM trying to create pressure mid, but Fuyu and Old Stones not gonna let that happen. NVision pick up the objective, but actually the fight is still ongoing. A lot of damage coming through, but a really nice play from Old Stones will keep Fuyu alive. One more bomb, parting gift, as DBL secures his team. The Dragon set up for Soul in 5 minutes time, as MNM not able to get anything on the back of it.
Yeah, this is the thing. The Soul being picked up. Oh, NVision might look for another bit of aggressiveness here.
Not gonna find it.
Not gonna find it, yeah. So, I mean, this is the thing. With that third Dragon being picked up for NVision, next one will obviously be Soul, and it's like a mental edge thing, because teams really do not like giving over Souls. I mean, understandably, Souls are very powerful. Vango look for a little bit of poke. Alright. And he's dead.
I mean,
okay.
No, cool. Yeah, no, you stopped the port. Good stuff. DBL recall timer was reset, but Jamada, just keep on with what you're saying.
I kind of forgot.
Oh dear. Ultimate from Leona goes wide though. You don't need to be a little bit careful. Nice move ball to delete Godonika's attempt at a re-engage. Not going to go down. The Ziggs ultimate as a parting shot. But MNM will be able to move away without losing any further members. Baron's on the menu though, and Vision definitely have superiority in the game right now. Is that an objective they can look towards?
Yeah, they certainly can. They've got this Yone. I think once he has the IE, it'll look a lot more threatening. Jax as well would like to have 2 items if we're talking about sitting in front of the Baron as a 5-man, but honestly, you can wait for the Soul. Wait for the Soul, and you are able to secure that, which at this trend, honestly, they're looking like they will be the stronger of the 2 teams once it rolls around. I don't know exactly how MNM are going to approach team fights straight up 5v5 at the moment, because, you know, Gwen didn't really get rolling. This mid-jungle duo didn't get snowballing either. Godolika is surprisingly strong. He's actually got 2 items, but Godolika and Vango this game haven't really been able to link up with each other, find picks anywhere in a particularly potent position. Because of that, Vango kind of been struggling in 2 Cups. A lot more freedom in this game than he perhaps should have gotten at surface value. Especially in the early game, but you can certainly give credit to Old Stones and in ways also Fuyu for playing sort of safe and then allowing Old Stones to roam up and give so much coverage to 2 Cups to me. So that he couldn't be abused, because we actually did see 2 Cups last week get camped heavily in one of their games. Godolika forced to kick away Juanatis, and that's just an ultimate down for the next sort of 60 to 80 seconds or so. Which could just give NVision a window to find a positive skirmish if they do get one. But yeah, honestly, so far, just great play from NVision. For the most part, I mean, MNM, again, as highlighted, I think before we came to the game, their biggest enemy seems to be themselves a lot of the time. A lot of the reasons they found deaths has kind of just been over-aggression. Yet again, as 2 Cups isn't going to opt to chase into Vango there.
Look at that hide away in the jungle, finds a ward, but is tempted to go for it, decides against it in the end. But this is absolutely true. I think we cannot really overstate the glow up of NVision in the past couple of weeks.
No.
Across the board, they've been playing exceptionally well, especially when you look at DBL, right? NVision brought in a sub-player for a week. They brought in Brelia to play. DBL bounced back, got back into the roster, and has been playing pretty good League of Legends since then. You look at Old Stones down the bot lane, newish to the roster. I guess wasn't here at the beginning of the season, has been looking pretty solid. And the rest of the team across the board, you've already mentioned 2 Cups. You notice in the jungle has definitely had a couple of his best games of the season in recent weeks. They're going from strength to strength for the MNM roster. Maybe they've been caught a little bit of a weak time off the back of that loss to Lucent, but right now you've got to favor the boys in green to take this game.
Yeah, I think game state certainly does say that. And I like actually that you highlight DBL, because DBL as a player, you know, he's not really been around for that long in the UK scene, especially in contrast to, you know, players like Aragon, for example, who have, you know, it feels like been around for an eternity, but are still very, very strong. BBL, for the last couple of splits, he's just had really, really strong placements in like every tournament he's participated in. Second, third, top 4 is almost always what he does. Unfortunately, never actually managed to claim a title. Anything he's competed in.
Careful. That was an interesting bait, but it looks like it might have paid off as the damage comes down onto Ultimate. He's going to be going down for you. Burns low and will be removed as well. 2 Cups diving off through, trying to make Yoba pay for killing his friends, and will be able to do so. Unotis needs to be a little bit safer, but we'll be able to grab Clocks back in. The stun comes through from DBL, and it will be a 2 for 2 as soon as Clocks is cut down. It's going to be the man with 2 swords picking up 2 kills and moving towards the dragon.
Yeah, and I mean, that should just be so. Godunaka might look to try and find an angle here, but I don't know if it's realistically going to happen. DBL and 2 Cups both playing Bodyguard Dewey. Let's see if Godunaka can find it, because no. Well, there you go. Soul over to NVision.
Gonna like that one. There,
are.
Again, it's something that we talked about not being like the biggest one, but we've got a replay here, and it's a big bait from Yoppa, which kind of doesn't pay off.
Yeah, I mean, initially it does, but, you know, they find old stones and then they start to retreat, but the issue is Joppa lost so much of his health bar to commit for that play that 2 Cups kind of walks in, Spirit cleaves him once, and then snaps back, and the true damage is enough to kill him. Clocks also kind of just dies on the back end as well. Collapse of NVision. I mean, I think it's a bit of a desperation play. MNM realized they're not going to win a straight-up team fight at the moment unless it's at a numbers advantage for themselves. As another hook lands, Vango
Just taking away, but the fight is nowhere near over. DBL chasing onto Clocks. The ultimate comes down. It's just a slow, not a stun, as the teleport will come through. NVision take big chunks off health bars and move directly towards this Baron buff. Going to be able to melt it through very, very quickly with the composition they build, especially when you look at the likes of Ziggs and Jax. And the big purple buff going on to NVision. 28 minutes on the clock, and they're running away with this game.
They are very much running away with this game. Honestly, primed to get a win here. Still a lot of towers between them and the MNM Nexus, but given how far ahead they are and what feels like MNM's unwillingness to be proactive outside of what feels like the mid lane, to be honest, certainly can unlock a lot of gold off this map. And Graviton on that, but
double root. Clocks looking for something. We'll be able to find the Zenith Blade, but Dalla will get the instant response. Lots of damage coming through from 2 Cups. Picks up the first kill of the fight. It's only onto Leona, but Aragon will fall soon after. He's actually surviving and walking away from this fight. Members of NVision have gone down, but DBL on the side. Big ultimate from Ziggs will secure the kill onto Aragon as Vango looks to dive away. DBL gets the stun out onto Godunaka. He won't get death sentence, but will get played and will get taken out. DBL goes golden to reset the tower macro, and Fuyu steps up to take it. Vango can't get the assassination as Jax leaps to safety. They're going to put on a lot of pressure in this mid lane, have the satchel charge available, but hold it for now because they could look to use it on this inhibitor tower.
Yeah, they could go quite far with this one, if I'm honest with you, if they feel like it. See how aggressive they're feeling, because it's Clocks and Vango both up. They want to push for the Nexus towers at the very least. We've got Clocks back up as a 3v4.
Oh, down onto Fuyu. He's immediately deleted. Vango gets him and gets away. He's going to force the rest of NVision to try and make their excuses and leave 2 Cups just shielding away, trying to get an assassination down before he makes his escape. Dev sentence lands onto Jobber, who's going to be dragged right on through. It's Clocks who goes down in the end, actually, as DBL will take the lantern to safety. You can see here comes Aragon on the flank. DBL going low, will be cut down by Jobber as 2 Cups looks for his escape. Aragon moving forward, snip, 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 won't be able to find anything, as it will be Fresh and Yone making their way out, but they do lose their inhibitor mid.
Yeah, they lose the inhibitor. It's a nice response from MNM. They get a little bit of gold injected back into them, but at the end of the day, they don't get any objectives. And there's no dragons trying to pick up. They would have had numbers advantage, but even then, DBL will probably have teleport by the time he spawns up. There's nothing really on the map for MNM to take. After sort of punishing the overstep here of NVision. Is the replay likely to start? Yeah, all the way back here from the Gravity moment from Joppa. MNM just trying to route NVision in the mid lane before they can actually siege up on a tower with this Ziggs. And I mean, somehow Aragon just doesn't die. Gwen is immune, by the way. Eventually, what does he die? Okay, Gwen just dies for some reason. I'm actually not sure what it was, because it didn't look like to the Gwen ultimate, to the Ziggs ultimate, rather. As a really nice stopwatch here from DBL, keeps himself alive. Vango isn't able to get any abilities landed onto him, and Clocks comes out, immediately finds that solar flare onto Fuyu. Shutdown goes over to Vango, and they're able to chase NVision out. The teleport also comes down from the Gwen on the behind, as Vango about to find Old Stones.
Yeah, will be caught up with Unotis and Fuyu. Goodness me, Old Stones. Heat seeking hooks this game on the Fresh, catches another one and sets up the siege bot.
Yeah, honestly, so far Old Stones MVP for me this game. You can obviously look towards Harnesses, you can look towards 2Cups and say, man, we've been playing good. But for me, it's all about Old Stones roaming up from the bottom lane from the beginning of the game to give 2Cups this much freedom.
Teleport coming in.
Yeah.
We're not. DBL, just keeping the minion alive. There wasn't really a siege to be had, though. But remember, MNM do need to clear out these minions with mid, and Yone is just shepherding them in. With the Ziggs, objectives do not last very long, especially towers. And it's going to be difficult for MNM to defend, you've got to imagine, if NVision keep up this pressure.
Yeah, definitely so. You know, a fair amount of like minion wave clear, if left unattended, between Joppa and Gwen. Gwen surprisingly does clear out minions quite quickly with the true damage snip snip. But still, like you say, the pressure still has to be dealt with. It's 45 seconds until Elder. Quite frankly,
damage, man.
Yeah, the Ziggs, it's a champion. And I'm unsure MNM really have much a chance at fighting at this Elder. I mean, they're going to have to. They give over the buff, they'll lose the game for sure. No doubt about that. They have to lock down the Ziggs, but the target access just hasn't been there the entire game. And oh no, there's a flank coming through.
Does find access onto Fuyu. He goes golden. NVision looking to come on through. Eragon's still alive, still putting damage down, but DBL diving on through, gets as much damage as he can onto Yobba, and it's going to be Fuyu taking out Godonica. Yobba has to go golden as members of his team melt around him. He goes down. Unotis on the side helping out as much as he can. NVision will run down this mid lane and close out this game.
And what a big win this is going to be for NVision, man. They need anything they can get right now to try and open up the gap. They're even going to find Vango on the back end, who sort of donates his life over. NVision, with this win, going to keep themselves as far away from relegation as possible. And let's not forget, NVision were looking like they were probably going to be one of the 2 relegation candidates if we were coming out of week 4. Now, as we are here, looks like they might be contesting for playoffs.
It's definitely not an NVision that we saw coming into even last week.
Yeah.
That we're seeing on the UKLC right now. Hold my hands up, I'm an analyst genius. I said of the 3 teams that are at the bottom on that week 4, that I think NVision were the ones that were most likely to climb their way out. And I did vote for them today. I didn't expect them to beat MNM, but everyone was just firing on all cylinders on the NVision roster, and MNM Gaming, you just can't say the same.
No, can't say the same. Bit unfortunate because we do expect MNM to be, you know, effectively our strongest, second strongest, depending on how you gauge Resolve Academy as well, team. But right now, something obviously seems to be playing them. I wasn't necessarily like super formed on the draft. I don't think it was necessarily losing, but I think the execution threshold definitely very high when you're running stuff like Lee Sin LeBlanc. And again, you know, no peeling tools really there for the Aphelios. Maybe a different AD carry pick would have been a little more optimal. But all in all, honestly, man, NVision, they look like a team that is hungry to make it into the top 4. They've not done it since they were champions.
And I mean, they could be en route to climbing their way back into those playoffs. Don't go anywhere. In a couple of minutes, we'll be back with 2Cups to talk about that big NVision win and to break down what happened in that game. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few minutes.